Hello viewer, a warm welcome to Elimu TV where you watch and learn. I'm your teacher, Madam Chrissy Okot, taking you through Biology Form 2. Today we're going to do Lesson 5 and our subtopic is on factors affecting the rate of transpiration. So let us have a preview of what we're going to learn today in our lesson. First, we're going to look at the assignment. Then we're going to have a recap of transpiration, which we learned in the previous lesson. We're going to look at the factors affecting the rate of transpiration, both external factors and structural factors. Then lastly, I'm going to give you an assignment. So let us first look at the previous assignment. Question number 1 was, state the 3 types of transpiration and explain which one plants lose more water. So we had discussed earlier the 3 types of transpiration. We have stomatal, cuticular, and the lenticular. And the type in which the plants lose more water is through the stomatal transpiration. The second question, describe how plants lose water through the leaves. So on the surface of the leaf, we have these openings that we call the stomata. So when the stomata open up, the water will evaporate. So the leaves, they lose more water through the stomata. So when the openings of the stomata open up, it means that there will be more loss of water. So now let us look at the factors which affect the rate of transpiration. Remember, we had earlier discussed about transpiration and we said that transpiration is the loss of water from the surface of the leaf, and the water is lost through the openings that are found on the leaves, which are called the stomata. So the factors affecting transpiration are subdivided into 2. The first ones are the environmental factors and the other ones are the structural factors which deal with the makeup of the leaf. So we're going to start looking at the environmental factors. So what are some of these environmental factors? First one, we have the atmospheric pressure. We have the wind. We have water availability in the plants. We have the temperature. We have light intensity. And finally, we have humidity. Those are the environmental factors which affect the rate of transpiration. Now we're going to look at the 6 factors one by one. So the first factor is on temperature. So the higher the temperature leads to a higher rate of transpiration and vice versa. This means that if the temperature is low, the rate of transpiration is also going to be low. This is because high temperature increases the kinetic energy of water molecules. So water molecules gain more kinetic energy that leads to the vibration in the process. It leads to the opening of the stomata, the spores of the leaves. So with high temperatures, it's going to increase the rate of transpiration. So looking at our curve, when the temperature is high, the rate of transpiration will also be high until it reaches optimal range where the rate of transpiration is just going to be the same or it's going to be flat. So an increase in temperature increases the rate of transpiration. A decrease in temperature will decrease the rate of transpiration because the kinetic energy is going to be also low. And we say kinetic energy by definition, we've learned this in physics, I hope so. So kinetic energy, this is the energy which is in motion. So higher temperatures increases the kinetic energy, so it will lead to the opening up of the plant. The water molecules will be moving, so it will increase the rate of transpiration. The next factor, which is external, still affecting the rate of transpiration, is on humidity. So what is humidity first of all? This is the amount of water vapor that is found in the atmosphere. So when there is high humidity, the rate of transpiration will be low because the environment is saturated. It means there is vapor which is in the atmosphere, while the vice versa will be at low humidity, the rate of transpiration will be low. If you look at our example, when the humidity is very low, it means when the humidity is very low, the water will be lost, while the humidity is very high, less water will be lost to the environment. The next factor that affects transpiration is wind. So the wind carries away water that accumulates from the surface of the leaf. So on a windy day, the rate of transpiration is going to be high, while on a day that is not windy, the rate of transpiration is going to be very low. So at the surface of the leaf, that is where the water vapors accumulate. So on a windy day, the water will be carried away. So it means this plant has to take in more water, and more water has to be lost through transpiration. The next factor is on light intensity. So the light influences the opening and the closing of the stomata. High light intensity, the stomata will open up and the rate of transpiration is going to be high. While when the light intensity is low, it means there will be less stomata opening up. Looking at the illustration, so during the day, the stomata of the leaves, they will open up. Why? Because of photosynthesis, there needs to be gaseous exchange. So, like for example, in photosynthesis, the raw products which are needed are carbon dioxide, that is the CO2, and water. So there is need of exchange of gases, while the water vapor also evaporates through the transpiration. So when the light is more, it means the stomata are going to open more and the rate of transpiration is going to also be more. Another factor is on atmospheric pressure. So first of all, we're going to define what is this atmospheric pressure so that we can understand how the atmospheric pressure affects the rate of transpiration. So atmospheric pressure, this is the force per unit area exerted against a surface by the weight of the air above that surface. So this is the force that is exerted just above the surface by the weight which is above the air on that item. So at low atmospheric pressure, it will lead to high rate of transpiration. So the reduction of pressure reduces the density of the external atmosphere. This allows more rapid diffusion of water. So the plants growing on hills they show higher rate of transpiration because of the low atmospheric pressure and vice versa. When the atmospheric pressure is high, it leads to low rate of transpiration. Another factor that affects the rate of transpiration, still on environmental factor, is the availability of water within the plant. So inadequate supply of water leads to a reduced rate of transpiration, while an increase in water supply causes increased rate of transpiration. Looking at our illustration below, when there is so much water in the environment, the water will tend to absorb more roots, then the water will travel up the plant. So it will mean that more water will be evaporated from the surface of the leaf. So the more there is water in the environment, the more there is need for the water to evaporate. While the opposite is, when there is no water in the environment, what will the leaves be evaporating? Of course, nothing. So when the water is available, it means the rate of transpiration is going to be high, so that there is that need for water to be absorbed, which will be replacing the water which has evaporated through transpiration. So those have been the external factors that affect transpiration. Now, let us look at the structural factors. This includes the size of the leaf, the number of stomata on the surface of the leaf, and the thickness of the cuticle. So let us look at each of these three factors. So first, let us start by the size of the leaf. So, if a plant has many large leaves, it will have a large surface area of the leaf exposed. Therefore, the rate of transpiration will be high. Now, looking at our diagram, you can see the leaf, they have different sizes of the leaf. So, the smaller the leaf, it means the surface area which is exposed to transpiration is very low. So, there will be low transpiration rate. While if the leaf is exposed is very big, it means it has more surface which is exposed to transpiration. So the rate of transpiration is also going to be high. So the bigger the leaf, the more water it's going to lose, and the smaller the leaf, the less water it's going to lose to the environment. Then the next factor is the number of the stomata on the surface of the leaf. So the more the number of the stomata on the leaf surface, the higher the rate of transpiration. Why? Because the stomata lose their water, the leaves lose their water through the stomata. So if there are more stomata, it means there is more loss of water, while if there is low number of stomata, the rate of transpiration is going to be low. So there are more openings on the leaf surface through which the water vapor can escape. So if a leaf has many stomata on the surface, that is the upper surface, it will tend to lose more water. While if the leaf has less number of stomata, it means the rate of transpiration is going to be reduced. That's why the plants which are found in dry areas are the ones which we call the xerophytes. Most of them have less numbers of stomata on the surface, the upper side. So most of the stomata are found on the down surface, the surface which is just beneath. Another factor that affects the structural factor that affects the rate of transpiration is on the thickness of the cuticle. So the thinner the cuticle, the more water vapor can pass through, and hence a higher rate of evaporation. So the cuticle is the thin waxy layer that you find on the surface of the leaf. Sometimes you can just peel off and see the transparent waxy layer. That is what we call the cuticle. So when the cuticle is thinner, it means more water can pass through. So the rate of transpiration is always going to be high. While if a plant has thin cuticle, the rate of transpiration is going to be high. If the plant has thick cuticle, it's going to be low. And the cuticle also has the shiny part. So the shiny part, it reflects heat away and helps to prevent overheating of the leaf. So hence, the low rate of transpiration because there is less heat to cause evaporation. So it has two purposes: in regulating the heating of the leaf, and also it helps in the transpiration. So that has been our lesson today. And before we leave, we're going to leave you with an assignment on what we have discussed today. So question number 1 is, how does the number of stomata on the surface of the leaf affect the rate of transpiration? Question 2, how are the leaves on a dry areas adapted to minimize loss of water? So remember, you can send us your questions, your feedback on the number 40007. You can write to us. Our Facebook page is Elimu TV. You can also write to us. Our Twitter handle is @Elimu_KE. Thank you for watching. I have been your teacher, Madam Christine Okoth, hoping to see you in the next lesson. Thank you.